You have $100, not $10,000, not a surprise inheritance from some distant relative you never met, not a lucky stock tip from Wall Street, just $100. The kind of money that disappears so easily, most people can't even explain where it went by the end of the week. Somewhere in America tonight, someone will spend that exact amount on food delivery, random Amazon purchases, subscriptions they forgot they had, or one weekend out they won't even remember next month. But somewhere else, another person is about to do something with that same $100 that will quietly split their future into two completely different timelines. And the terrifying part is, when it begins, it looks completely meaningless. The account opens, the transfer goes through, the screen changes from $0 to $100. That's it. No dramatic music, no millionaire moment. No instant success story. In fact, the next morning the market drops slightly and the account reads $98.43. Suddenly, the entire idea feels stupid. Your brain starts calculating how long this would realistically take. You realize that at this pace, nothing about your life changes anytime soon. This is the phase almost nobody survives. Not because they're lazy, because human beings are wired to chase visible rewards, and this gives you none. Month after month, you keep feeding the account while the outside world keeps rewarding people who spend instead of save. Your friends upgrade phones. Somebody buys a nicer car. Someone else posts vacation pictures from Miami while you're transferring another $100 into something that still feels invisible. And then something dangerous happens. Silence, no excitement, no dramatic growth, just repetition. The kind of repetition most people secretly hate because it forces them to live without immediate proof that they're winning. 6 months pass. The account balance still looks painfully ordinary. 1 year passes, and the profits are small enough to feel almost insulting. You could have made more money doing overtime for a weekend. That thought enters your head more than once. The temptation to stop becomes incredibly reasonable, and that's exactly why most people do stop. Not in some dramatic emotional moment. They simply skip 1 month because money feels tight. Then another. Then they stop checking the account entirely because looking at slow progress starts feeling uncomfortable. The habit dies quietly. That's how most financial dreams disappear in America. Not through failure, but through slow distraction. But imagine you don't stop. Imagine you continue during the months where nothing exciting happens. Because something is happening, you just can't see it yet. The real investment in the beginning was never the money. It was the identity you were building without realizing it. Every month you proved to yourself that your future mattered more than temporary impulses. Every contribution rewired your relationship with patience. And patience is terrifyingly rare now. That alone separates people faster than income ever will. Then 1 year the market crashes. Headlines everywhere. Panic online. People screaming that the economy is doomed. Your account suddenly drops hard. Months of progress disappear in weeks. This is where fear becomes physical. You feel it in your chest every time you open the app. Your brain starts begging you to escape before things get worse. Most people listen, but you don't. Not because you're fearless, because you've already survived the boring phase, and once you survive boredom, panic becomes easier to recognize for what it really is. Temporary emotion pretending to be permanent truth. So you keep buying, quietly, consistently, almost mechanically. And months later, when the market recovers, something strange happens. The shares you bought during the fear suddenly become the reason your account grows faster afterward. The painful months secretly mattered more than the easy months. Nobody tells beginners this because it sounds fake until you experience it yourself. Years pass. And then one random evening, you open the account and stare at the balance longer than usual. Not because you became rich overnight, but because for the first time the numbers feel heavy, real. The account is growing faster now, not dramatically, just enough to make you realize the machine is finally alive. Your money is starting to contribute alongside you, and that realization changes something psychologically. You stop thinking like someone trying to get rich. You start thinking like someone building permanent wealth. There's a massive difference between those two mindsets. One chases excitement. The other survives long enough for time to do the impossible-looking work. 10 years in, the account is no longer a tiny side project. It's proof. Proof that small decisions repeated consistently become outcomes. People mistake for luck. Friends start asking how you suddenly became good with money, not realizing there was never a secret strategy. No genius stock picks, no perfect timing, just years of doing something so small it felt pointless while everyone else waited for the right moment to start. But here's the part that should scare you the most. The real acceleration hasn't even happened yet, because compounding is slow for a very long time and then suddenly violent. 1 decade later, the account begins producing thousands of dollars annually, almost by itself. The machine that once looked dead is now moving with or without your effort. And every time you see the balance rise, you remember something chilling. This entire future came from a decision so small most people would have laughed at it. A single $100 transfer, one ordinary month, one moment where you chose long-term freedom over temporary comfort. That's why the biggest financial mistake most people make isn't being broke. It's believing they need a huge amount of money before starting. Because while they wait for more money, time keeps moving without them. And time is the one asset even rich people can never buy back. 40 years later, 2 people look at their lives very differently. One says, "I always wanted to start investing." The other quietly checks an account worth hundreds of thousands of dollars built from amounts that once felt too small to matter. Same country, same economy, same opportunities, different habits, different ending. And tonight, whether most people realize it or not, they're choosing which future they're walking toward. One $100 decision at a time. So, before you scroll away, ask yourself this. What's one thing you wasted money on this week that your future self would trade for freedom? Drop your answer in the comments. And if this hit harder than you expected, share it with someone who keeps saying, "I'll start someday." Because someday quietly becomes never for most people.